My name is Angela Huggins. I'm the SO Connect Training and Support Manager at SOI, and this is the training video for completing family registration for the 2019 World Summer Games. The first page you're brought to will look like this. You'll have two options, either to resume a registration or to start a new registration. If this is your first time through, you'll begin by starting a new registration. You'll create a username and password. You'll enter your first and last name, your date of birth, your gender, and your country, and then you'll click that Get Started button. You'll be brought to a page that looks like this. You'll see your account details on the left and the registration fields listed on the right. The registration fields are separated into tabs, and each tab contains different fields. At the bottom of each tab, you'll see a Save button. If you make any changes, make sure and scroll down and click the Save button before navigating away from the page. In this registration portal, some fields are mandatory and some fields are optional. Mandatory fields that have not yet been completed are outlined in orange, like you see for the email and mobile number fields. And mandatory fields that are complete will be outlined in green, like you see for the first and last name fields. Optional fields are outlined in gray, like you see for the middle name field here. The completeness percentage that you see under your profile on the left here is calculated using the number of completed mandatory fields. So right now I have 10% of the mandatory fields complete. As a note for this personal tab, if you upload a photo to this photo field and then click that Save button, then you'll see that that photo automatically gets added to your profile. If you only want to fill out the information in the personal tab and want to come back later to the registration to complete the other tabs, you would just first make sure that your information is saved using this Save button, and then navigate away from the page. When you visit the family registration link at a later time, you'll choose the Resume Registration option, and then you'll log in using the username and password that you created to see that your information has been saved. So I'll enter some test data here for these mandatory fields. I'll make sure that my data is saved, and then I can X out of this window and revisit the URL at a later time. This time, since I've already started a new registration, I can log in using that username and password. And then I can see that that information was saved for me. So now we'll move on to the Passport tab. As you'll see here, every field on this tab is mandatory, so I'll go ahead and fill in some test data here. There is a rule built into the registration portal regarding this passport expiry date field. Passports must be valid for 6 months following the event. So if I put a date in this field that is too early and I save that information, you'll see the field is still orange. It didn't turn green. And I also see to my right here this orange exclamation point. That is an alert that something's wrong with my answer to this field. So if I hover over that exclamation point, I'll see the passport is expiring within 6 months of the event. It needs to be removed. So that's an alert to tell me that this date is too early. My passport cannot expire within 6 months of the event. So I will fix this date here. And save. And I'll leave this gender field blank for now, and we can come back to it later. So for now, we'll move on to this registration tab. The registration tab fields are all fields having to do with World Games information. So you'll choose families as the role, and you'll select the Special Olympics program your family member is affiliated with. And finally, you'll check off the days of the games that you'll be attending, and you'll select yes or no if you're the head of family. All of the information in this athlete section is the information in regards to the athlete that's attending the games. So I'll fill in some test data for this section here. At the bottom of the registration tab, you'll see an option to agree to the terms and conditions. You can read the terms as well as the privacy policy just by clicking on the blue links underneath the field here. And then the last thing on the registration tab is to certify that the information that you've provided is correct. The final tab that contains fields is the travel tab. These fields are all optional, but if you do choose to fill them out, it'll be helpful information for the World Games Organizing Committee. The last step in this registration process is to submit your registration. To do so, you'll go to the Submission tab. And as you can see in the Submission tab, the message I have is that this registration is not yet completed. If I look to the right of that, under the Mandatory Fields header, I can see that I have a green check mark for the Personal tab and orange X's for the Passport and Registration tab. And that tells me that something is missing or something hasn't been filled out that's mandatory on those tabs. So I'll go back to registration and I can see that I didn't save when I selected the role of families. So I will go ahead and save that. Now when I visit the submission tab, the registration also has a green check. Now I can click this passport link here to quickly take me back to the passport tab. And that's why it's giving me the orange X, because I'm missing that gender on passport. And I will save that. You'll also see now that my completeness percentage is at 100%, meaning that I haven't missed any mandatory fields. And that also means that the submit button is available to me. Up until this point, I have been able to leave and come back and edit any of the information that I've submitted for this registration. An important note is that once I click that submit button, I won't be able to edit any information. I can always log back in and review the information that was submitted, but if that submit button is clicked, I can't change the information that was submitted. So keep that in mind when you are ready to submit your registration. Once you click that submit button, you are finished the family registration. Again, you can always log back in to review the information that was submitted, but that's all you have to do is to just move through these tabs and make sure all of the mandatory fields are completed. If you have to register another family member, you would begin the process over again by selecting the Start a New Registration option from the beginning of this video. Thanks very much for watching.